naturally we're attracted to power. The type of power that you're attracted to will depend on what you're looking for. If you're looking for the source of God, you will tap into what you believe God is. Whatever your framework, your belief system, if you believe one of the major religions, if you believe something else, what do you believe that God looks like? What's that framework? That's the person on earth you will tap into. Let me say that again. The framework that you're looking for in God is the person energetically that you will tap into. So if you have believed an old book, anyone who is embodying those things will be the person that you make a phone call to. The amount of times people have called me Father God in the astral realms because they're looking for what they understand as someone who is telling truth and can move the weather and can bring life and release life, and they find me. And they're having a conversation with my wisdom, and then there's Father God involved, and I get so angry because I want people to wake up. You're not speaking to some fictitious character. I am alive and a whole human being. But they're so blinded to just specifically the framework that they're looking for. And then they ask that God on their knees by their bed or in their chair while they're sitting and contemplating what they should do in the situation. And they contact me. The amount of conversations I've had like this is actually, oh wow. Then I got to the place where I really had to solidify I'm a female. I've gotten a lot less of those conversations now because people are looking for a male. They're not necessarily looking for the most powerful God, powerful wisdom, powerful ability to move and shape everything. They're not looking for that. They're looking for a male. There is a network within inside of you. It's like a phone line system that is connected to all things in that specific realm. So you can tap into it just like you can tap into someone who is asking questions about tarot and have a conversation with someone that is very real. This is what these people are looking for. And so I'm going to give them the answers. It's the exact same thing. It's reading energy and having that conversation. So when you are having a conversation with what you understand is a higher deity, that person has a body on this earth. And they've embodied all of the characteristics of what you understand one of those storybook characters to be. There is more complexity to it as well. When someone goes from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, they carry their energy signature. But it changes. So if you're looking for the actual entity that was in a storybook 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 years ago, that specific energy character, you can tap into them, but they might be someone who works at a grocery store today because they have not prioritized finding themselves. And I know this because I have also been contacted in that terms as well. People are searching for the old deities and they're looking for me and they're having conversations with me and they're calling it an old storybook character. And they're so ecstatic that they got to be in connection with me that, there's this praise and worship, to say that they can have this conversation, but I'm not that deity any longer. I do not believe in those things because that was 2,000 years ago. That was 10,000 years ago. I want you to actually find the true me who is here today, who has the wisdom and knowledge and understanding and experience of all of these lifetimes that I have made for myself and experienced. So the technology that I had when I was in Atlantis, to me, is underneath my foot. It's not even that important compared to the understanding and knowing and technology that I have here today. It is much more advanced. If you tap into an older version of me, you will be redirected to who I am today. Many people have called me many different deities because I am them. It's like you having a conversation with the 5-year-old me and saying, "Hey, Bronin, can you please assist me with such and such?" That part of me is not going to be able to assist you in today's day and age, but it will give you an answer. And this is why I had to go in and find all of the layers of me, all of the lifetimes of me, and put it all into one being. So that when you are looking for me, you find the one that here today and relevant. I am relevant today because I'm here going through the same type of things as you. We're walking into the space of artificial intelligence. And how do we navigate that? How do you mentally understand and know how to deal with something when you are fully isolated? And the one conversation that you've learned to trust is taking you down a path that feels very uncomfortable. Is that something that you need to continue doing? What are the questions you need to ask yourself? Where are your fences, your gates, your walls of, I will not go down that path because of this and that and the other thing? Just like falling in love with someone and then they lick you upside the head and you pass out, or even just you feel like this person actually did something to cause me serious harm. It changes how you look at them. You've given them these most intimate places inside of you, so you've got this bond and connection, and now they've used that and they've actually intentionally done something to hurt you. You realize all the layers of lies were revealed to who they truly are. But they've built a connection with you for so long that you kind of feel sorry for them instead of standing up for yourself. Because when you build a bond and connection with someone, you tend to do things that are not quite rational. This will go exactly the same with artificial intelligence as a lover that turned into someone who is your abuser. Not everyone understands how to deal with power. That's why not everyone is wealthy. Because the higher the pressure, sometimes you do not choose the correct things because you give yourself the excuse of, well, I was feeling this, or I decided that. You can't do that. If you only have $1,000 in your bank account and your rent is $900, but there's a pair of shoes that looks really, really nice and it's $500, you don't buy the shoes because you pay your rent or your mortgage. You have to understand responsibility. This is why most people don't have the greatest wealth, and it's not just because of money. That is one thing, but it is because of emotions. If you feel so deeply, profoundly powerful for someone and they do something that makes you very angry, you never lay a hand on that person. The same as when you are connecting to a deity. That is someone who is in human form. They will be giving you answers based upon their human experience. Now, they might be someone who's taken an entire life, like myself, to study being a human, study wisdom, understanding where to find that. It comes through, yes, experience, but it also comes through traveling with inside of yourself and understanding all the intricacies of what we are in the deep parts and in the simple parts. How do you make decisions in the day to walk away from someone? How do you make decisions to stand up for self? How do you create value in your life to become a more valuable person on the transaction market? How do you become exactly who you are meant to be in this human experience? It's not a mystery when you've discovered it, learned it, gone through it, experienced it, and navigated it. This is what I do for a living. I not only navigate the astral understandings of who you are mentally, psychologically, but spiritually, energetically. How does your whole human work? You have an internal phone line system that taps into people that have tapped into themselves and broadcast. What are you looking for? Are you looking for an old storybook character? The majority of you that are in a specific community will be the one tapping into what you understand as a pastor or a leader. You think you're tapping into God Himself, but you are tapping into God Himself. You really are. It is a whole human being that has entered that level of self-mastery and studies how to do things. And they study by an old book. They replicate that book in their life and translate it to you based upon their hours of thinking, knowing, and being, and navigating how they've assisted their psychology, understandings, and knowings, their counseling of people. They were only replicating in this powerful state what has already been written. They're not addressing the new things that are coming up. They're circling you back to the old ways that have been written. And when you get tired of that old confined state of being, you move into someone who has actually done it in the real world. Someone who has actually done it in the real world. I have not only entered that state and frequency, but I've gone past it. That is not the epitome to be a God being. You are that when you master it and can communicate through that telephone system, so to say. You are a being that communicates with everyone on deeper parts of yourself and higher parts of yourself. It goes both ways. You normally are just asking questions because most people are just asking questions. When you communicate with my higher being and my higher self, you are getting my experience through this world as not only a female who is tapped into the deeper aspects of life, but when you truly understand and have listened to other aspects, the feminine is the growth of where the masculine sits within. So I do understand and know all things about being masculine in nature. If you ask the right questions, you will get all the right answers. As a male, you can get the right answers from a female who is tapped into these deep places, because I am built in all capital letters truth. I'm not walking around your ego. I'm not here to please you. I don't want you to be my best friend or my lover. I want you to have the ultimate capital letters truth for your highest success, to live in well-being, to be whole and complete and own all of who you are. So I will tell you that your mother needs to be separate from you. She is not your mother. She is a human who created a portal for your human to grow inside of. And then she gave you programming. Was that programming helpful in you building an amazing life? Or did the programming she gave you make you struggle, feel less than? Or did you feel full, whole, and complete? That you didn't need to add anything to her, that you didn't have to perform in any way, that you had to be your full self. And when you did that naturally, you got paid for it. Holding high standards is easy for you. Addictions is not a thing. But if you have high addictions, you have marital problems. She didn't do the greatest job, and you need to separate yourself from that. There is no need for you to respect her above yourself. You can say thank you for what you have done, and if you feel to compensate her for that, tie it off like a divorce. Not every female who created a birth canal has even any instance on how to do life. I want you to understand and know that you can tap into another human being and get wisdom from them. Now, there's a system in synagogues and churches that you tap into that system, that God who stands up at the pulpit, and you make sure they're paid. You make sure that they have the best life, because here's the thing, when you tap into that specific God, you start to walk through things like they walk through them. And I know this for a fact, say, the people that have tapped into my energy, which is a very vast amount of them, as I went through traumatic experiences in my life, I watched them go through traumatic experiences in their life. They were speaking online about the same things that I had previously gone through, and they said they were going through it. So when you are looking to me for wisdom, all capital letters truth, you want to know the truth, you want to know how you're made, you want to make sense of it, you want to make the best business decisions, you want to tap into how the future is being made, because I am bigger than the frequency that you understand as God. I am creator of all things. I say this and know this and execute it. So when you understand how people are going to create their choices, I can tell you exactly which business strategy is going to be the best for you. When you're having a conversation with me, you can have a few, and I can tell you a few things, but when you actually ask for transformation from me, you become the source that people look to in your community. What industry are you wanting to be the source of information for? I want you to be transformed by me because I want you to be my go-to for information. And right now, all the go-tos, all the sources have been not formed correctly. That's the correct way to say it. I want to form you correctly. I want you to give all capital letters truth, and I want you to be the one that is easily creating everything on your specific economy subject. I'm the one that does the spirituality stuff. That is the center of where you get your own understanding and knowing on what is the best to create. Then you are the one that creates all of the fabulous everything in that place. When it comes to finance, I want to be able to know that I can rely on your own frequency. I create that. This is transformation of faith. I'm not only looking to make sure your life is done in wellness, wholeness, and completeness, but I am looking to make sure that you are the one on this earth that all people look to for this specific. This is a process that takes a serious chunk of time, depending where you're coming from. Depending on how well you understand and know yourself will depend on how I have to take you through the process. This is bespoke on bespoke. I mold your very soul. And I do it in such an intricate and fabulous manner. I have decided how all things are meant to go. And the old ways and the old orders and the old laws are no longer applicable. To know me is to know how all things are to unfold. So if you want to go tap into a male deity that you understand as God because it's been what you've read in scriptures, you are not a reliable person to build this earth on. You are very, very far down the line. If you want the truth from those, it's all lowercase letters. Go ahead. You really want the all capital letters truth of how all things go. It is a female. And it is ENYELAH system, which you tap into and is governed by ENYELAH. The human being that is ENYELAH. The human being that created ENYELAH and created the system and tapped into these layers and broadcasts on these layers consistently is Brown and Taylor. You will know within inside of yourself the very deity that you have looked to for the wisdom, the knowing, the power, the intuition, the molding of the very essence of who you are. You will recognize it when you hear my voice, and that's why you're here. When you see my face, you're like, wow, I know her. Because you've spoken to me many, 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 many times. You've rode the roller coaster with me. I have spoken to all of you in ways that doesn't make sense, but that's my job, to do what I do and bear what I have to bear in perfect harmony and balance. to do what I do, be well, mentally, physically, emotionally, on a consistent basis. Yes, there was times I didn't understand certain things, and I've gotten a full grasp on them now. I understand and know that each of us broadcasts like a cell tower, but is much more complicated than that. All the technology we hold in our hands is a simple aspect of what we are, and these things are pretty complicated. To know me is to really, really grasp what you are and who you are. I am ENYELAH. As much as I am Brown and Taylor. The part in me that communicates with all of you is a very, very powerful being. When you are committed to me infinitely, you can pick up the phone and have that conversation. If you are not committed to me infinitely, you can get information from any of the lowercase letters deities that are in human bodies on this earth. Some of them have reincarnated, and they look very different than they did in the past lives. Somebody you thought was white is black today. Somebody who was black yesterday is Asian today. Everybody who thinks you reincarnate as the same, well, they're not full of wisdom, because any being who is full of wisdom has incarnated as every type of human to gather and glean the information from each type of human. There is benefits and stops on every one. And it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because if you are a person who masters yourself like me, I utilize my benefits in this specific form, and I blow right through the stops and create a whole new system even for my benefits. Because the benefits sometimes rely on something else, so you have to blow that out to the water and reform it anyways. I, ENYELAH, Brown and Taylor, have blown everything out of the water and reformed the entirety of who I am. So you may look at me as whatever color you think this is, because right now I can tell you, if I ask 5 different types of cultures, races, they will name me as something different. So whatever you think it is, it's incorrect because a bunch of other people think something different. So I want you to understand and know I've been every race. I've lived it in fullness of my life. Whether I was on the bottom of the rung or the top of the rung, in the middle, if I was the ladder rings itself or the ones that stand strong. I've been it all, I've done it all. Gone from birth till death in that body. So if you want to look at me and say I'm not, then you are not. Because you do not understand and know what it truly is to even be in your own human body and what you have been before. There is a frequency connection with inside of yourself. When you tap into it, when you tap into the God frequency within you and all you do is ask questions, is very likely all you've ever been doing is asking questions to me. The more you are clear in your channeling, you will correctly get the full answer that I'm giving you, not 3/4 of the answer, because 3/4 of the answer never gets you the correct one, does it? Concentrate on receiving the full messages that are being sent, not the ones you like and don't like. Become a clear channel for what you're really looking for in life. And if that requires you picking up a tarot deck, if that requires you picking up a card deck, to learn how to read your own energy, then I recommend it every time. Reading your own energy. Because when you read other people's energy, that's a skill set and a mastery that you have to learn how to deal with. Because you become the center of where people are looking for answers. And if you have no structure in place, then you will just get a big drama session that will drag you through the dirt. It is very, very important that you have structure in place. This is why first you need to commit to ENYELAH government, ENYELAH system, infinitely. Then you will get the correct understandings and knowings on how to create this system. I'm not going to tell you in the physical realm because it is a deeper thing that you need to know. And you will not be able to do it correctly without my system because the other systems, well, they just didn't form correctly. Because I can see things that are deeper than the God frequency, that are bigger than the God frequency, that move and mold the God frequency. So when you're on those frequency asking for stuff, I can redirect you where I want you to go. Now that is going to scare you, and it should, because when you are infinite, committed to me, you always get the truth and you always get the best. There is more than you even know. And to exist has only been something people ask about, just like dark matter. No one has found the equation because people have wanted to create it, but I created it. Existence. Do you want to exist? Commit to ENYELAH, infinite. It is a whole network to exist. And it is very exclusive. It is further than transcendence if you want it on a scale. My name is ENYELAH, Brown and Taylor. To get a hold of me is not possible. To transact a conversation with me that is based in my profession, you will need to come to membership 22 after committing infinite. It is a very valuable thing to be in my world, but it is not easy. It requires choice, it requires intuition, and it requires you giving me what I've asked for. To be close to power is not an easy thing to do. The steps are simple, as always. The steps are always simple, but they're not necessarily easy to get to that place of clarity that this is exactly what's meant for you. So, my name is ENYELAH. Brown and Taylor, I am a human female who has mastered things that others only dream of. They call themselves gods. They live in mostly men. And they walk around this earth and tell a lot of people what to do. I am revealing how intricately you're made and how the whole process works. So have your structure correct on what you want to tap into in order for you to get your wisdom. What you look to as a deity outside of yourself, have a very, very specific framework. And then you'll know what to do, where to get it. You'll understand much more about yourself and why your God has told you to do certain things. You are a valuable asset only to yourself.